Hello and welcome back to Campo Largo. We will be continuing where we left off, which you will recall is after Elder Hartley passed out, and he and Elder Suarez were walking around the plaza looking for people to talk to, but Elder Hartley was not doing really well. He was not sleeping and he was fasting, and he basically passed out after seeing the horse, which apparently he keeps seeing everywhere in his dreams and in real life. And yeah, he passed out, and how that's going to be explained, we don't know. I'm assuming he's going to have to tell Elder Suarez that he was fasting and why he was doing it. Although I don't know if there's like rules about that. But yeah. Also, the whole thing of the- turning into a sort of a werewolf type thing, you might also want to explain that. But yeah. Anywho, what else? Things are just in general not looking really good for Elder Hartley. So, are they going to get any better, or are they going to keep getting worse? Are we going to end up finding out what's up with the horse? I mean, aside from the whole tarot card reading, but yeah, come on. Is he ever going to decide to go back to was it the magpie and like talk to him like, hey, oh, what's going on? You know? Anyway, so yeah, without further ado, let us continue Campo Largo. Chapter 4. Durr. The sounds come to me, distorted and distant, as if I'm underwater. I must be surfacing, though, since they become clearer. Elder. I think the voice is calling to me. I should answer. I say something. What was that? I repeat myself. Buen dia, señor. Elder, it's me. I finally recognize the voice. Oh, right, of course. Snake. Elder, you can hear me, yes? Why is he above me? I open my eyes, and I almost immediately shut them because I get an eyeful of sun. Why is my bed outside? Why is my bed so hard and warm? Warm. Everything is warm. The light that I can see through my eyelids suddenly darkens, and I dare to crack them open. There is a dark silhouette of a head and a long neck where the sun was. Elder, you fainted. Well, that's not good. Your pulse is way too quick, too. Desmayarse. We need to get you some water. Here. He picks up my scripture bag and slings it across his chest. Then he leans down and slides an arm under my shoulders. My muscles aren't working. How weird. But he is able to heft me up somehow. He's strong, his muscles are working. And mine start working too, at least a little. My head stays upright, at least. Elder Suarez nearly stumbles up until he rebalances my weight, and I get my hooves under me. We're going home. We've got to get you lying down. I mutter something about contacts and lunch. Contacts? No, you need to lie down. And Hermana Camiletti's house is on the way to the pension. I can't put up an opposition despite the portion of my thoughts that makes up this time spent not doing contacts as a failed opportunity. Propped up, held up by Elder Suarez, I can walk. Somewhat. We stagger across Avenida Oro Blanco. Luckily, there are no cars made to wait by our slow pace. I keenly feel the transition under my hooves from the concrete street to the gravel and dirt. Step by dusty step, we work our way along, and after an interval that feels simultaneously very long and very short, suddenly in front of us stands Hermana Camiletti's despensa. Elder Suarez lets me down slowly to sit in the bit of shade on the side of the building. He returns to the front and claps at the despensa's window. You should be within eyesight and earshot of your companion at all times, and I can't see Elder Suarez. That's not good. I hear footsteps inside and I'm Hermana Camiletti's voice. They're talking. He's saying that I fainted, that I'm sick, that I need water. She asks where I am. Footsteps from the front of the despensa. My snake companion appears. A door opens at its side, and the armadillo, the tatu, comes out. They meet me. Hermana has a glass of water. She squats down and brings the glass to my lips, tilting my head back so that it'll run into my mouth. A bit dribbles down my front, but some runs into my mouth and down my throat, and it feels so good. Sorry, Hermana. I don't think that we'll make the lunch appointment today. Would you mind that if we took our portion of the food to go? She nods. Of course. This chico needs rest. Here, make sure that he drinks the rest of this. She presses a glass into his hand and speeds back into the house. Elder Suarez brings the glass up to my snout again. I take a couple more sips. What were you doing, Elder? His tone has an edge. I've never heard from him before. Were you fasting? I can't not answer. I don't have the energy to fake it poorly either. For some reason, I feel shame. Yes. His expression is a mix of scolding and concern. I feel like I'm in elementary school, facing a parent who's not angry, just disappointed. I thought so. What for? I can't answer that. That's personal. He nods but maintains his furrowed brow and searching eyes, as if by will he could excavate the answer from my cerebral cortex. Very well. But Elder, it is January. Today is probably the hottest day of the year so far. Fasting is fine, but you've got to show some prudence. The last word is weighed. As it falls on me, it threatens to topple me again. I don't reply to that vocally. In my head, I retort that prudence is relative, and that I needed God's help to overcome things more pressing than hunger and thirst. Remaining silent, I take the cup from his hand and sip some more. The water isn't cold, but even room temperature water is refreshing today. I feel it run through my mouth and down my throat and settle in my empty stomach. I can almost hear it splash and slosh. My companion maintains his hard expression, lips pursed, burrowing his eyes against his palms. Gradually, unevenly, I am feeling my wits and strength and embarrassment return to me. Elder Suarez and I look up as Hermana Camiletti returns. Sorry, Eldres. It looks like the food still needs a little while longer to cook. That's okay. Could you bring it to our pension when it's done? We're in apartment number 1, corner of La Plata and Franklin. We're not supposed to have members or investigators visit us at our residences. Sí, claro. That's right around the corner. For now, though. She holds out something to me. A cylindrical roll of plastic-wrapped crackers, probably from the display of her despensa. I take them. Thank you. She walks back inside. I peel open one end of the roll and in my mind, with my eyes squeezed shut, I verbalize a prayer to end my fast. I apologize for doing it like this, instead of kneeling and taking more time for contemplation, but I plead that it could still be effective in helping me avoid the distracting thoughts about cards and her and death and... I recall who I saw immediately before I lost consciousness. I vigorously tamped down the emotions. And horses. Yes, especially them. I added that I'll pray more at more length later. Opening my eyes, I pull out a cracker and crunch it between my teeth. The dry texture calls for more water, but the salt sprinkled on the upper side tastes delicious. Elder Suarez walks over to the house's side door while I pull out a few more crackers. I hear him thanking Hermana Camiletti and asking her to bring her the cell phone when she stops by the pension. We're not supposed to have members or investigators visit us at our residences. Elder Suarez steps back over towards me, crouching down to my left. Even in that pose, he towers over me, but he also faces his body away from the house, parallel to mine, and only looks at me sidelong. How are you feeling? Weak still, but more clear-headed. A bit better. All right. Well enough to get up and head back to the pension? I feel pathetic when I query my legs about their readiness for work, and the answer returns indeterminate. I flex them, testing thighs and calf muscles, hamstrings and fetlock tendons, and each pair of hoof toes. I think so. Here, grab my shoulder just in case. Slowly so you don't lose blood flow to your head. I reach up and wrap my arm around his shoulders and neck, pulling my legs so that they'll be under me when I rise. I didn't have the presence of mind to pay attention when he half carried me all loopy to Hermana Camiletti's house, but I'm once more impressed by the lean solidity of his body. As I brace myself, my arms sense the denseness of his back and neck muscles, like a bunch of river-polished rocks encased in a leather bag. I get the thought that he probably could carry me straight up if needed. I can't tell if that's comforting. In any case, I don't faint again as I return to my feet, and after pacing back and forth to test the structural integrity of my legs, we set off the last 2 blocks to the bench. I can feel Elder Suarez's watchful gaze on me as he walks closer to me than normal, obviously prepped to catch me if I slump again. Heat rushes to my ears, and they turn halfway back. But I'm half grateful as well. I'm not feeling myself. And you haven't been for several days, haven't you? I reject that line of thinking, forcing each hoof down with each step. When we reach the pens, I drop into my desk chair. Leaning forward, I prop my elbows on the desk and press my eyes into my palms. I botched it. I botched the day, the lessons, the contacts. I botched my job as senior companion. I botched keeping my spiritual strivings private. And I botched my fast. Sitting here, I wonder if I'll have to do another, just to make sure that I focus that time, that I truly and properly demonstrate, exhibit, embody my resolve to overcome my weaknesses despite the hardship entailed. A finger taps my shoulder and something being set down on the desk next to me. I remove my right hand and look down. It's another glass of water. Elder Suarez has already stepped away. I know that I need it, but each sip feels like I'm ingesting confirmation of my failure. It takes about 20 minutes for Hermana Camiletti to arrive. I'm still slouching forward on the desk, drinking from the glass bit by bit, when the knock at the door comes and Elder Suarez answers. I try to stand up to at least greet her, but a wave of dizziness forces me back down. Elder Suarez carries in the food in a plastic container, interior surfaces steaming up by the warmth. I inspect it on the desk. Polenta and soy meat, looks like. Gracias, hermana. She replies from around the corner. No hay por qué. And the phone? We'll just need to borrow it for a quick call. Yes, sure. Right here. Elder Suarez reaches through the doorway again and comes back with Hermana Camiletti's cell. It's similar to ours, compact and basic. He rests it by my right elbow and walks around me to reach my bookshelf. He pulls out the new missionary folder. Before he opens it, I see the scythe on the cover. A wave of dizziness and troubling nausea sweeps over me, but I can hold it down. But it's gone as Elder Suarez flips through the pages to find Hermana Billings' number. She's the one that we're supposed to call as a first line of advice for health-related matters. Though today, after I describe my fainting spell, and like most times that I've heard about, she advises rest and a call to the mission doctor. The doctor is down in La Plata, acting as a consult for all the missionaries in Parana. I run through my symptoms again and, embarrassed, admit to having restricted my food and water intake. He says it's heat exhaustion and says to be grateful that it didn't turn into heat stroke, which would probably have involved visiting a clinic. I've never been inside a Paranero medical institution. The idea of having to discuss my bodily functions in my unusually specialized Spanish, prep for faith and not medicine, is not appealing. And if they found out about my delusions, I'm afraid of what would happen. I worry that they'll advise that I'll be sent home for treatment. That would be a crowning failure. I thank the doctor for his time, barely 5 minutes, and agree that yes, I'll rest in bed, hooves elevated for the remainder of the day. I'll hydrate and feed myself. I'll take a cool shower. I press the end call button and hand the phone back to Elder Suarez. I can see a slice of Hermana Camiletti through the door. She's leaning against the front wall of the bench alongside the doorway. I could pass the phone back to her myself, but I'm in a bad shape. A deep fatigue has settled into my body. I feel heavy, dead weight. And the thought of rising makes my head start spinning. I lay my head down on the desk, throat and jaw flat, and I pile my forearms over my snout. The door closes, the lock clicking shut. A tap on the light switch. The sound of the chair being pulled out. A brief squeak as the chair takes weight. So, what did the doctor say? Right, he wouldn't have understood the English language conversation. I sigh, mostly at myself. It's heat exhaustion. Drink fluids, eat, cool water, and rest. Bien. My face still burned in my arms. I hear Elder Suarez get up and pad over to the sink, withdraw a couple of dishes and utensils from the drainer, and set them down beside us. I hear the plastic container open and the sauce-drenched polenta slurp out and then splat on the plate. The sweet, sharp smell of tomato sauce reaches my nostrils. I both salivate and hold back a protest from my stomach. I'm not sure if it's protesting its present emptiness or the food that's coming. I hear water filling up 2 cups. Why am I letting him do this? Am I that incapacitated? At this point, I don't know whether I'm covering myself because of illness or shame at my ineptitude. Here, start with this. I do need to eat. I pull myself up and tentatively open my eyes. 2 plates served. I pull mine over. Thanks, Elder. De nada. He picks up his fork and I follow suit. I can only eat a couple of bites. Turns out my stomach isn't enthused about food this heavy right now. Not wanting to lean on Elder Suarez again, metaphorically or literally, I push myself up and stow my leftovers in a separate container, tossing them into the fridge. I take the roll of crackers and my glass of water to my end of the table in the bedroom, and then I go for my shower. I'm still lightheaded, but the cool water feels very nice. Midway through, I even get a shiver. It's a normal reaction, but now it reminds me of how my fur felt when I did the same thing just 12 hours ago. I scrub more vigorously, more quickly, and exit the bathroom as soon as possible. It feels so wrong to be standing in my bedroom, contemplating lying in bed at this time of the day. The afternoon sun still squeezes through the slants in the shutters, falling on the floor and illuminating the room from the floor upward. But I comply with the doctor's orders. I splay myself out, hooves perched on the footrest. I stare at the ceiling as I absent-mindedly pluck crackers from their package and try to eat them one by one. But nature abhors a vacuum, and through the haze of my fatigue, the stagnant warmth of the air, and the slow passage of time, thoughts begin to seep back into the folds of my cerebral cortex. I'd heard of the missionaries who went home early. It was rarely mentioned why. Medical reasons was sometimes the explanation offered, but no specifics, unless they'd gotten deathly ill and needed care unavailable in their mission country. Otherwise, their status went undisclosed, unmentioned, but far from unknown. Unspoken as well was the perception that they had fallen short, that they hadn't achieved what thousands had done before, they hadn't returned with honor. And yet, I'd seen returned missionaries, missions fully completed, who were immature, ignorant, or both. I could do better than them, for sure. With faith like a mustard seed, we can move mountains, right? With trust and hard work, I can help folks come to know the truth that I hold so dear. I can work through my problems. I won't be sent home. Definitely not for some strange dreams. Besides, if I don't get over them, I'll have to explain them. I don't think that I really trust therapists. They'd probably think that I was crazy, prescribe me something mind-altering, or tell me exactly how they think that I should live my life. I don't want that. I don't want to tell a priesthood leader. They may be called to lead a ward or a stake, but I can't predict how they'd react. They're not bound to confidentiality either, and even if they tell no one, any confession could bring publicly perceptible consequences. I'd rather not test my luck, risk my exposure. And the thought of telling my parents about the dreams, the scraps and the flickers and glimpses that I remember, almost makes my gorg rise in my throat. I catch it though, and ease it back down. No, enough of that. I curl up on my side under the sheet, facing the wall, airflow from the fan tickling the hairs in my left ear. I try doing those mindfulness exercises, observing as many of my sensory intakes as I can. And between that and a shockingly strong wave of oncoming fatigue, I drift away. Elder Suarez and I walk down the street, one dorm to our right and one dorm to our left, each rising up with contours and angles of Gothic revival. We're headed to a lunch appointment at the dining hall. We're headed to class too. I'm nervous because I just realized that I forgot to do the readings and attend the last session. That could hurt my grade. I have no idea how or why I did all of that. I'll have to ask if there's extra credit or something on top of coursework. And ugh, how did I manage to flop so spectacularly so early in the semester? Elder Suarez, treading softly along the sidewalk beside me, got all his work done. He's fantastically dedicated. I remember looking over at his copy of Aeschylus and seeing the margins full of his tight cursive handwriting. That's admirable and imitable. I have no idea how he does it. He skips meals each Thursday to help focus on writing the weekly papers and always far exceeds the 5-page minimum length. He's probably top of his class. I'm also amazed that he can do such quality work when he's just learning English. Or does the professor accept work in Spanish? Have I been writing in the wrong language so far? No, I have been writing in Spanish, as a missionary handbook requires, but it's been a struggle. It's been very nice to hang out with him in the library or in his dorm to write those papers. I like having his insight and expertise and company. And I suspect the feeling could be mutual, something that I've never experienced before, not in that way. It is a very strange set of emotions, a bit giddy, a bit anxious. Especially since he's right here beside me, spending time with me outside of class. I hope his roommates don't mind if I stay late tonight to write. I know some folks are sensitive to guests of the opposite gender hanging out in common rooms. We've now reached the quad, passing through one of the entry gates. His dorm will be on the left, mine is straightforward. I forget where we're going. Were we going to class? To study? I smell the all-pervasive aroma of browning leaves and receding warmth, the markers of early autumn. Right, it's October. October 11th. Why am I reading Ovid then? That's not for a couple more months. I don't even have the essay prompts. But that's got to be my problem, right? I haven't been paying attention in class. I'm botching it. I need to find something to say about Ecdian, gazed upon a goddess, gone quadrupedal and torn apart by his hounds. Unpleasant but evocative, prominent cervine literary figure, too. Funny that it took until college to learn about this story. Maybe I can talk it over with Elder Suarez. He's got thoughtful ideas, creative theses that I can't devise. Probably more knowledge about cervine literary history, too. I remind myself that it's October and that we got weeks before Ovid. More than enough time. We're through the gateway and walking down the railroad tracks that crisscrosses the quad's long. A group of students play cricket in one corner, somehow with frisbees, which somehow I know they invented for that purpose. Our feet crunch along the gravel between the railroad ties until we notice, sitting atop the rails about 30 feet ahead of us, a door. Not connected to a building, just a door in an independently standing frame, in the middle of the quad. Well, we'll go to Elder Suarez's room instead. We veer off leftwards and onto another set of tracks, avoiding the door that's blocking our path. But it's still weird. Why is there a door? I pause in curiosity. Elder Suarez stops beside me. As we watch, the door unlatches and someone passes through it, a lemur dressed in some garish colors, tail dyed in rainbow stripes. They pose with a wide smile in front of the door. Someone's taking their picture. Some guy's taking their picture. I see the camera, but it's hard to focus on the figure holding it. I feel that I have to ratchet my whole body into alignment to see, even though there's nothing obscuring the view. There is a shirt sleeve stretched over a deltoid, a shirt collar tight against a wide, arcing neck, a bare white midriff, shorts under which a set of strong, awesome, hooved legs unfold. He pulls a camera viewfinder away from his long, pale, dark-nosed face, gives a thumbs up to the lemur, turns, looks over, at me, puts on a big equine-toothed smile of recognition, raises a hand in greeting, inviting to come over, towards the door, come through, step out, get a picture. Do you know him? No. He's skeptical and asks again. Do you know him? Do I? Where do I... Do you know him? No. No. The horse smile begins to fade, enthusiasm giving way to something more subtle, more flavors and all barely detectable. Fondness? Confusion? Hurt? Sympathy? My eyes are glued though. I don't move, can't look away. Do you know him? He's got that camera, that box, that black box with flashing, unblinking eyes, that chronicler and capturer and keeper of souls wielding it in both hands. Do you know him? I feel the panic rising. The answer arises unbidden from my throat. Yes. I'm suddenly behind the open door. He's there on the other side. He raises the camera. I feel something surge up from my stomach. As I bolt awake, I'm able to catch it momentarily. The taste of bile still finds its way to the root of my tongue, threatening again and forcing me to suppress another heave. I have to get to the bathroom. I stumble out of bed, but a hoof tangled in my sheets means that I come down on my hands and knees first. I don't bother getting up on my legs. Speed is more important. I make it around the corner and into the bathroom and over the toilet, and I find and hold the seat end. I made it in time. I can't see much in the dark, but I hear it all. The vomit erupts from my mouth and splashes cleanly into the bowl. It tastes vile, but there's not much. Crackers and water don't fill you up, after all, and soon it's just dry heaves. I try to ignore the smell in my nose and the taste in my mouth as I sit there hunched over, breathing to regulate my body. Does this mean that I'm getting sick on top of heat exhaustion? Ugh. And I'll have to turn on the light to wipe away any splatter. I sit there a bit longer, making sure that it's all done, and then I push myself up shakily to my feet. I find the sink with my hands and turn on the water. I don't drink it, but I do lower my snout to the flow so that I can flush the bile out. And that's when I notice that something's felt strange since I woke up. My feet and hands. Something tries to push up through my esophagus again, but fails with nothing behind it. I debate whether I want to know for sure, to see what I'm feeling, to confirm with my eyes what proprioception is telling me. In last night's delusion, I forced back the dread and did everything in the dark. But I have to know. With a halting movement, I raise a hand to the light switch. I point my gaze towards it in the dark. And I press the switch with my palm, keeping my fingers flat against the wall. The light reveals it. My hand has 5 fingers. I've readied myself so I don't leap back at anything, but I'm suddenly short of breath. My hand has 5 fingers. It has blackish fur. Each finger is tipped not with a thick hoof on top, but with a dull, curved claw. I start to get dizzy and quickly lean myself, my back against the bathroom door so that I don't fall over, and to barricade the door against entry. Things don't look any different while I'm sitting. The other hand is the same too. And on the underside, each finger is tipped with a bulbous pad. There's also a pad at the base of the fingers. It looks like any canine hand that I'd ever seen. And that's before my attention migrates down, unwilling to investigate the incomprehensible signals that I'm receiving from my fetlocks downward. My hooves are gone. Where they once were are paws, 4 short, squat, clawed digits, each one that I can feel. Each one flexes as my brain sends the commands. And I can feel the big pads on my undersides, where my fetlocks should be off the ground, flanked by 2 vestigial digits. They're paws. They're on my body. This body that I'm inhabiting. What is happening to this body? I won't scream. I don't cry. I take in breaths, but each one feels insufficient, like I've expanded my ribcage, but air is only filling the top third of my lungs. I close my eyes and try to get myself under control, willing the visions to be gone when they reopen. They're not. My hands and paws are still there. Flexing my dark alien fingers, evidence of seamlessly reconfigured muscle and bone, I emit a soft, incongruous laugh. The chuckles are disrupted by gasping, yawning attempts to draw in more oxygen. Is this it? Have I lost it? Have I snapped? Have I broken? Alternately, have I somehow broken the universe? That seems unlikely. But I can't rule it out. I continue to sit there, feeling wedged in the corner between the wooden door and the tile floor. Switching between staring at the shower wall on the other end of the bathroom and staring at the inside of my eyelids. Trying not to think that the room is probably 4 feet wide and 8 long. I pull up my knees to my chest and wrap my arms around them, hugging them tight. I bury my snout forward in between my legs. I sniffle. Gradually, I am able to breathe again. With the air comes another thought. This is just another one of my delusions, hallucinations. Actually, probably just dreams. After all, everything's gone back to normal each morning after these dreams in the past. Except for the stray hair and the scent and... No. I've woken up entirely normal. So this will pass too. This must pass too. I just need to get back to sleep. Right. Just back to bed. I wrap myself in the covers, lie down, and sleep. And then wake up with everything back to the way that it should be. My breath shudders as I draw in through my mouth, but it fills up my whole lungs while only threatening a gasp. I put down a hand to balance as I stand up, feeling an extra finger on either side of my 2 normal ones, the large pads squashing slightly against the tile. My mental foundation threatens to crumble underneath me again as I feel my feet press and flex against the hard surface, silent except for when a claw taps. I close an eye as I rise so that I don't see myself in the mirror. And I get an idea. Our garments are supposed to remind us of who we are, right? Remind us of our covenant and God's love and protection. In the twilight of the bench, lit only by a sliver of light from the bathroom, I exit the bathroom, padding to the kitchen to retrieve my name tag from my desk. Without even much effort to be quiet, I pad over to my wardrobe and pull out a set of white shirt and dark pants and belt. I dress myself. I button my shirt on, fumbling a bit with the fingers that shouldn't be there before I develop a rhythm. I latch my pants closed and zip up my fly, fastening the belt around my waist. I slip the name tag on my breast pocket. Elder Hartley. And under my name, the other name that I bear by covenant, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I know who I am. I breathe. Reaching into the bathroom, ignoring the mirror, I turn off the light and return to my bed. I don't know how long I lie there, awake, alert, aware, but it feels like an eternity. Monotonous, endless, solitary. I try all sorts of games to occupy my mind, to relax my body, but nothing seems to work. Until I hear the alarm go off, indicating that it's 6:30. I don't even know if I slept. January 18th, I think that's supposed to be 2008. Friday. The clock beeps incessantly. I can hear Elder Suarez rolling into position for companionship prayer, sliding onto his knees beside his bed. Right, I'm the one who turns off the clock. I reach up and tap the button, a mundane motion that nevertheless sends a tsunami of horror crashing down on me. My hands are paw pads, still. My hand has 5 fingers, still. I'm waking up in the morning and my hand still have their form from nighttime illusions. A quick mental check confirms that my feet are paws too, still. Oh dear God. He's right there. He's right there. His back is to me, but in an instant he can turn his head, long neck twisting all the way back. I can't let him see me. Until I've solved this. Until I've gotten myself back to normal. What am I gonna do? First, I pull the covers over my head, leaving only my antlers sticking out. Habit. Antlers and bedsheets and blankets aren't friends, as they say. Next, companionship prayer. I rotate onto my knees, under the sheet. I wait to hear Elder Suarez's voice, but it doesn't come. Why is he so quiet? Elder? I can feel his attention turning my way, almost clacking with the giant machinery of a revolving battleship gun battery. Oh no, it's my turn. My heart is pounding and I have pause, and I need to pray to start our day. Dear Heavenly. My voice sounds strange, a little raspy. I cough to try to gather saliva. Dear Heavenly Father. There we go. We thank thee for this day that thou hast given us and for the chance to serve thy children here in Campo Largo. Except for, of course, I won't be going outside, not even out of bed. We ask that thou mightest help me overcome this ailment so that we can return to work as soon as possible. And one more thing, because we can't go out. We pray that thou mightest inspire our investigators and those whom we haven't yet met with curiosity, so that they might be ready to hear about thy gospel. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. I hear Elder Suarez offer his amen from across the room. My personal prayer, perhaps repetitive, is just pleading to know what's wrong, to know how to fix it, to be fixed. Still feeling sick, Elder? The voice breaks and, looming over my back, I can feel his eyes piercing the veil of the bedsheet. I finish the prayer. Yeah, still pretty bad. Voice still slightly hoarse. Strange. I'm sorry about that. We'll just stay in today. Just keep following the doctor's orders. And let me know if you need anything. Thanks. I hear his footsteps recede. I hear every step of his morning routine. Shower, dressing, fridge opening and closing, sink faucet running and water splashing. Near the end of it, I hear him walk back to the bedroom and hear 2 things set down on the bedside table. Once my ears confirm that he's left and that he's pulled out his desk chair, I dare to pull the covers down to take a look. A bottle of water and a bowl of provender mush. There's even fruits cut into it, like I do every day. A peach, looks like. I don't know what the feeling is that flowers inside of me. It's not entirely unpleasant, not entirely pleasant. He's watching. The unpleasant side whispers. He's watching, parries the pleasant side. I lie there, unmoving, for 5 more minutes, making sure that he's not coming back soon. I don't know why I do it. He could be back here in 5 seconds any time that he wanted. But I extend a hand to grab the bottle, unscrewing the cap and sucking the water out. My stomach protests with gratitude. I manage to take a couple small bites of the mush, but after that, my stomach and nose shy away, and I can't force myself more down. I return it to the table and retreat, turtle-like, back into my fabric shell. Very few beds are made for folks with horns and antlers. Cervines often get extra long beds, and antelope often leave a space between the head of the mattress and the wall. This bed is not extra long, and needing to bundle myself up almost entirely under a blanket only makes it smaller. Not to mention that the barrier of the sheet means that the fan's air isn't reaching me. It's already stuffy under here. But I don't have anywhere else. I need to solve it here, by myself. What good would medicine do for a deer who has paws, who grows and ungrows a different fur coat every night, who has a set of temporary fangs? There's still the possibility that I'm losing it altogether, but the supposed waking hallucination would have to be strangely self-consistent across days. Or at least, my perceptions of them. It makes absolutely no sense, repels every rational fiber of my being, but Occam's razor seems to suggest that I've caught an acute case of a bunk. Besides, going anywhere would involve Elder Suarez. I can't sneak out. If I did and were discovered, he called Presidente. If I did and weren't discovered, my stuff would be here in the pench, my passport in the mission office, safe for safekeeping. I went and lost our phone, to boot, so I'd be wandering alone with just my clothes and my debit card. And I don't want to break mission rules. I'm supposed to remain with my companion for mutual protection and support. As far as that goes. I don't know how a companion is supposed to support someone with... I think it, but I don't want to say it to myself. I don't want to give it reality beyond being literally inscribed on and in my body, my fingers and skin and face. I don't know how I'm thinking of it so rationally. If anything, that seems to be a sign of mental break. My reason challenges me. Okay, say that you've caught it. How? Nothing bit you. Nothing ran between your legs. It didn't start at age 13. It is a Friday. I think back. And didn't it start on Tuesday morning? I recall something, a phrase that I think that I glimpsed yesterday morning. I need to check again. Pieces start to fit together. My rational side can't determine whether to be happy that I'm constructing a consistent explanatory framework or aghast at its contents. Carefully, I slip an arm out from under my covers and feel around until I find the edge of my suitcase. Everything feels different under the tips of my unnatural fingers, but I eventually find the folder. I pull it into my fabric-lined sanctuary and venture forth again, blindly searching for my flashlight, which I find a second later. With the flashlight turned on, held between my teeth, still curled up on my side, I crack open the folder. There it is. Ignoring Dear Travis' letter behind it, I slip out the leaflet from the Universal Church. It's silly, superstition. All the same though, I've heard that the forms of spiritual experience and psychological conditions are contingent on local cultures. In some places, voices in your head are friendly and normal. In early Mormonism, they had mass healings and angelic manifestations. Joseph Smith had seer stones. He even found one at the bottom of a random well. Why couldn't things just be different here in Parana, in Campo Largo? Because it's on the same planet governed by the same physical laws and deers have hooves. Hush. I turn the leaflet over to the reverse side, the list of curse symptoms. Caution, this checklist will reveal the degree of evil that's pursuing you. It promises. The first column, I know, is full of incredibly average anthropic experiences, but that doesn't stop me from involuntarily starting to check off applicable ones as my eyes scan over them. I also know that I'm skipping some, of course. Depression, nightmares, insomnia, seizures or fainting, anxiety, fear, misery, bad luck in love, physical tiredness, bodily pains, constant illness, thoughts or desires for death. That last one hits me in the gut. Could it be so literal? So stupidly literal? Thoughts or desires for death? I feel a set of pale eyes peering at me from who knows where. I skip to the top of the second column. These are more bizarre, probably drawing from specific folk magic traditions, maybe even referring to Pentecostal perceptions of African-derived religious movements in Amazonia. And then my eyes settle again on the last item in the column. You've already consulted with spirits, magicians' cards. 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 Cards and death. That's when it started. Back at Hermano Rubek's, with that card that I drew. That's what it links this series of occurrences with my unsettling dreams. At the bottom of the leaflet, seek help before it's too late. A miasma of feelings mixed up from the muddled swamp in my mind. How could I have been so stupid? How dare he? How could I get back there? How can I get back to normal? Something reminds me that I've basically been awake for 30 hours straight, that sleep deprivation is comparable to drunkenness, but my thoughts barrel onward. Eventually, they hitch themselves to a specific train. I hear a voice echo in my head, Satan declaring that his followers will possess the bodies of Adam and Eve and their children. Our never embodied spirit siblings, bitter and miserable without bodies, seeking what they can never have, material sensations, descendants, eternal progression. Or at least seeking to frustrate us in those goals so that we will be equally miserable. The Universal Church wouldn't share any of this theology, and possession in the Bible and church history is probably a culturally contingent manifestation or interpretation of mental illness. Some malevolent spirit that I've permitted into my body in some moment of weakness, some moment of inattention. You don't follow a prompting fast enough. You set down your cup at a party and someone slips something into it before you pick it back up. Next thing you know, you're addicted to some drug. You linger too long at a certain website and don't hum a hymn when the images bubble back up in your mind's eye. My moment was back at Drubeck's. I didn't immediately run when he called an occult power in a mockery of true prophecy, seership, revelation. And they squeezed their way into my mind and body. I gave them this power. I must take it away. Still cocooned, I repositioned myself so that I can raise my arm to the square, facing up towards where the ceiling should be, but directing my will inward. When I was a child, I asked my parents in fear what I should do if Satan came for me. It was only a couple of months ago when I received my endowment in the temple that I learned where they'd gotten the form of the ritual so many years before. I summoned my sternest tone in a whisper. In the name of Jesus Christ, I command you to depart. I lie there, silent. I'm not sure what I'm awaiting. A still, small voice speaking peace to my soul. The crunching of bone as my limbs return to their proper form. Some degree of suffering commiserate with the opportunity cost of my past indiscretions, the chances that I've missed, the relationships that I've failed to feed, the people that I haven't contacted. My wonder, huddled up, if I've made permanent, irreversible mistakes, if there were unique opportunities, the best things that I've foregone for lesser ones. If God gave me the chance to choose the right path, to follow the straight and narrow for my life, and I faltered at a crucial moment. If I've shot lower than the sun and find myself falling towards a moon or stars. No, that's not the message of the atonement. Our poor choices might bring hardship in this life, but they don't forever endanger our standing with God. Murderers in the Book of Mormon receive forgiveness for even that grievous sin. Right? Yet, I still have 5 fingers, 4 toes. I must not have properly administered the casting out ordinance. Or perhaps I haven't had enough faith in its efficacy. Or perhaps I'm unworthy to call upon the powers of heaven. So I try again. And again. Until I remember that God doesn't want vain repetitions, and I stop my attempts at Nevertheless, my train of thought keeps circling and circling, running through the same phrases and emotions, and never stopping anywhere. Eventually, despite my restlessness, despite my energy, despite my incessant self-dissection, my eyes start to droop. They weren't seeing much anyway, beneath the sheets. Against my protestations, I yawn. I think that it's my widest yawn ever, a fact my brain can now account for with some horror. One new thought does enter now. Every previous change has occurred during sleep, during the middle of the night. Then I've been better in the morning. So logically, I should surrender to sleep in order to revert to normal. And then I'll tell Elder Suarez that we need to visit Hermano Drubeck again, despite my earlier feelings of unease. I have no idea what I'll say to the avian, but if he cursed me somehow, he'll already know, and he'll know how to undo it. He'll know, and I'll make him undo it. The music pulses, accompanying the flashing lights and laser show that fills the dining hall. My ears wince with every heavy downbeat. I can barely hear anything besides the music. To be honest, I'm not sure why I came to the total eclipse dance. Eagerness to dive into college social life in the first month? Likely. Memory that the 80s dance at the Bandcamp one year was a hilarious mismatch of neon and leg warmers and fun line dances? Maybe. My roommates setting me up with a very nice classmate that I'd mentioned, whom I was curious about and didn't wish to disappoint? Most probably. I don't think that she was having much fun though, before she went off to the bathroom, that is. I drift over to the side of the hall to await her, resting my rear against the table. The music, though deafening, is better than whatever electronic music typically dominates these dances, I suppose. The costumes are sometimes fun. My outfit is nothing special. But the dancing, a body squished together, grinding and tight, isn't any style I'm familiar or comfortable with. And I'm guessing that the smell that fills my nostrils is alcohol in its many varieties. It's technically an all-class dance, so there is some legal drinking here. Mostly though. Ugh, it's not my scene. That's putting it somewhat mildly. Put more starkly, I find it all mildly repulsive. When she gets back, I'm going to see if she doesn't want to head out, and I don't know, spend the evening chatting about constructed languages on my couch? As I'm pondering, staring at the edge of the crowd of milling bodies, I spot a dancer who's shucked his shirt altogether. It's still warm enough from the outside, and here inside, I'm surprised that more haven't followed his example amid the atmospheric stuffiness and debaucherous atmosphere. All the same, his white fur catches every neon light, muscles starkly highlighted or outlined. It's rare to see back muscles moving like this. He's not merely jumping up and down like some others. As long as I'm here, I may as well take mental figure drawing notes about how shoulder blades move, flanking a tossing mane. His tail swishes with each sway, and my mind imagines that I can hear his large hooves against the floor over the din. He turns and his front comes into view, elongated but powerful curving neck, slightly convex snout profile, broad pectorals and deltoids and biceps. I'm watching, invisible in the dark, a mere observer of an alien culture who doesn't wish to interfere until a flash from the lighting apparatus catches me. And in that split second, he's illuminated too, and his eyes are pointed right at me. Oh no. I just wanted to observe while I awaited my date for our imminent departure. I didn't want to be creepy or anything. Another flash comes and he's looking away. Phew. But then the song ends. He strikes a pose, makes a couple of gestures to the folks that he was dancing with, and walks, struts in that equine swagger, in my direction. He's not coming towards me. You're being paranoid. He's just coming to rest on the sideline like you are. Except by the row of tables shoved up against the wall, mostly barren of wallflowers, he comes to stand just 2 feet from me. Crap, 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 crap. He leans back, gripping the edge of the table with his hands in a way that accentuates his torso. One hoof comes to rest at his tip, the other taking his weight. I try not to pay attention, to not acknowledge that it's almost indisputable that he came my way. Hey there. I know that he's talking to me in that lull between songs despite the background roar of conversation and laughter. The indirectionality of his voice is clear. I try looking another way, but something within me recoils against the impoliteness of that, and I instead turn. Yep, he's looking right down at me, a friendly smile on his soft, dark-nosed muzzle. Want something to drink? Amid internal alarm bells which I hide behind a conciliatory grin, why do I grin in pleasure and discomfort? There's only one practice response that comes to mind. Sorry, I don't drink. He raises a curious eyebrow. He tuts a thumb and nods his nose towards the dance floor. Well then, do you dance? I have to go. Either one of these seems very rude, but this one seems less rude. Some part of me, the honest part, wants to say that sure, I do a variety of line dances and square dances and swing dances and semi-formal slow dances. I don't listen to that part. No, I don't, sorry. Also, I, got to go. Getting a call. I extract my cell phone from my pocket as a prop. I barely have time to notice a flicker of disappointment before I'm turning and walking fast, skirting places where the lights reveal spills on the polished floor. I walk through the exit, out of the dark, and into the light of the lobby, where I immediately see her coming over from the bathrooms. She's mildly surprised to see me here instead, I guess, of where she left me. I head over to meet her, slowing my pace, offering a mask of a smile. Hey, I don't think that I care for the atmosphere in here. Want to just, hang out instead? Her expression turns from a question to relief. Yes, I couldn't hear a thing in there. These ears, right? On cue, one of mine flicks back as the first beats of a new song starts up. So does one of hers. Yeah, let's go. We walk past through the doors into the crisp air of the early October night. The stone-paved plaza is bathed in the light of the moon overhead, but all of the other lights are off. We're halfway across when, in an instant, there is a figure standing before us. His garments flow in a non-existent breeze, as if we're underwater instead. One hand is behind his back, he's raising it to his side. Gripped firmly, moving in a smooth arc, tapping the ground with its long, curved, bending handle, is a scythe, its crescent blade glinting in the moon's light. He's right before me, looming, filling the plaza. Only his nose is visible under his ragged hood. He's wearing a small smile. I want to look around, but I can't, and I know somehow that she's not there anymore. The figure looks up slowly, until his eyes come into view. Pale, glowing eyes. His smile unchanged. I hear his voice. Do you dance? Before I can reply, react, retreat, the blade is coming towards me, on my shoulder, my neck, A sharp pain at the base of my skull awakens me. I gasp and reflexively deploy a hand for inspection. But wait, that was a dream. I'm in the bench under my sheets, waiting to get better. And my hand's first finger, the soft one that shouldn't be there, the one that shouldn't have gone away with the dreams, no. Its claws, its awful claw meets something rigid, curved, pointed, lying beside my head on the pillow. It's an irregular shape, loose, large, heavy. And my head is much lighter. I feel a poke against my shoulder as I squirm around in my pitifully thin-walled fortress. Before I set eyes on what my hand has grasped, it dawns on me. It's an antler. My antler. And the others come off too. In full summer, air hot and oppressive, days long and bright, my antlers have fallen off. And with that, I begin to notice more details and sensations that tell the same perturbing story. The paws didn't go away. My tail is too long. My body fills the bed. When my fingertips test to make sure that there's no new, benumbed injury to my head, I find that my ears are the wrong shape and in the wrong position, tall and on top of my skull. What I don't find are my pedicles, the place from which my antlers grow. They're not there. That's when I hear footsteps coming back to the bedroom. They may as well have been drums in the deep, heralding some abyssal monstrosity for the effect that they have on me. I draw myself into the feral position. I'm still wearing my shirt and slacks from yesterday. Their fit is wrong, tied around my knees and shoulders. Elder, are you alright? I thought I heard a yelp. Did I don't remember. I'm okay. My voice almost sounds like it's cracking. I sound very not okay. There is a pause. I try to disappear. I clutch on the sheet covering me, trying to forestall the possibility of Elder Suarez tearing it away. Oh wow, I think the neighbors might be smoking. No wonder you're still feeling sick. I don't smell any tobacco, but the smell that clung to me previous nights is back. I barely notice it. Let's open the windows to get some airflow. I draw myself smaller as Elder Suarez arches himself over me to undo the latch, on the shutters and push them outward. I'll go open the front ones too. That should help. His footsteps pause. Since you're still feeling sick, do you want a blessing, Elder? But that would mean that I would have to uncover myself, and that I couldn't handle it. Solve it all on my own. Work out my own salvation with fear and trembling. Nope. Shortly, I hear his steps begin to recede again, and the question hits me like a steam engine. What am I gonna do now? I didn't go back to normal. It all got so much worse. The longer that I hurtle here, the wronger my body feels. Who knows how much time is passing? That's something that I can, in fact, know. Cautiously conscious of every creak in the bed frame, I lift up a corner so that I can see the clock. 21:07. I slept all day. We'd normally be coming home at this time. A miniature maelstrom of guilt starts up in my gut. We can't go out now. It'll have to be tomorrow morning. But I can't reveal what's happened to Elder Suarez. I need it to be a deer for my original plan. I need it to be me. There is no way to predict his reaction to my current state. I can't hide it. I can't misdirect. So I can't. And now I have zero hope that I'll be myself again in the morning. There is no way out, metaphorically or literally. The panting starts up and I can't stop it. I can't get enough air. I need to get out. There's air outdoors. But the schedule? Don't care. This is a bigger deal. But Elder Suarez, he'll notice and report. No, if he's locked in, with no phone. Oh. Yes. And when we come back all normal, we'll explain it. Somehow. Ask for forgiveness instead of permission. Exactly. Alright. So here's the plan. We wait until he's in the bathroom. Then we get out of bed, get to the front door, grab the key, lock it behind us, and then run. Who am I become? The ox is kinda in the mire, Elder. Okay. We listen attentively. It seems like forever. Every shift, every creak of the chair in the front room gets me tensing, ready to leap up. And then finally it happens. My ears hear the hoped-for sequence. Elder Suarez gets up, steps into the bathroom, flicks on the light, and closes the door. I spring into motion, flipping back to sheets. But my knuckles rap painfully against the windowsill, and a paw gets tangled in our other sheets. I stumble, and with a thump against my side, I fall against Elder Suarez's bed. Most of my weight falls against the mattress, but I'm falling fast enough that it hurts badly. The bed bangs against the wall. The bathroom is right on the other side of the wall. He heard that, surely. So much for stealth. I scramble to my feet and rise, almost tripping, my pants too tight around my knees, towards the door. As I rise to my full height, my head hits the door jab. It's not supposed to do that. And it hurts. But I don't have time to think. I have to get to the door, I have to get the key and get out. Motion in the bathroom. I hear it as I pass by. Hunching over, trying to avoid more pain, I stride irregularly, unevenly into the kitchen. There's the key and the lock. I fear that I'll have to reach down, but my arm is a lot longer than I expect. Sufficiently long. But my first attempt to turn it, to retract the bolt, fails. I have 5 fingers, but I don't know how to work them. The toilet flushes. I get my grip and turn the key. I pull it out and grab the door handle. My ears tell me the bathroom door opens behind me. I shove down the door handle and yank open the door. The muggy air of evening blows against my fur, face, neck, midriff. No time to think. Elder? His voice is pointed away from where I am, probably looking into the bedroom. I have mere seconds, but I look back. My eyes meet his. I don't know for sure what he sees, but his eyes widen. I see a series of emotions cross his face: surprise, fear, and as his eyes dart to my clothes, confusion, question. He's coming my way. I force myself out the door and pull it shut behind me. The door latches, but the handle turns in my hand. It bucks open. Elder? Placing a foot against the wall for leverage, I pulled it back shut and slammed the key into its hole. He's strong and the door almost escapes my grip. But somehow, I'm stronger. I hold it closed long enough to engage the bolt. I step back, breathing heavily, staring, listening to the handle jiggle. Dust is falling around me, the only bright light streaming from the unshuttered window. I hear a couple of bangs on the door. Elder? ¿Qué está haciendo? My tongue hangs out, breath's coming fast, and a shadow appears at the edge of the inside of the window. I can't stay here. He's already seen too much. I shouldn't be seen. I turn and run. And run. And run. And run and run and run and run. And that's where I'm going to leave it for today. So, it's safe to say that the transformation is maybe permanent at this point, and that it probably does have something to do with horses, and probably what the whole tarot reading at Drubik's house. I want to say that perhaps Elder Hartley is repressing something, and at this point it's like, yeah, no, you're not repressing me anymore. I'm coming out full force. And that's why his horns have fallen off and his ears are now canine ears, and everything about him is now canine. And you might be wondering, well, why is he becoming a canine? Why couldn't he just be like something else? Why is this representative of whatever it is that he is repressing that wants out? But I think it's because it's supposed to be like, you know, a werewolf, and a werewolf representing like the most feral aspect of a human. So in this case, he's becoming werewolf-like, a lobizón, representing that like deep-seated, buried, tamped down aspect of himself, wanting to break free now, and being like, nah, you're not gonna hide me anymore. I'm coming out whether you like it or not. I'm coming out, and so are you, in a big way. And of course, there is little smatterings here and there for this is all what I'm thinking, okay? So it could be wrong, but there is little sprinklings here and there where he's like, he gets these little thoughts, but he decides like, no, that's not what I'm feeling. I'm actually feeling this, or nah, it couldn't be this. It's actually that. One of the little things that I noticed is the fact that Elder Suarez at the beginning of the first stream, where he was like going off to college, which I'm assuming is BYU, is the fact that Elder Suarez was taking the not the form, the what's the word? He was taking the place of the girl that he was interested in. And it's because, and I'm going with this because at the point where they see the horse, or that's taking the pictures through the door or something like that, it goes from Elder Suarez asking to her, this other person, this girl asking, do you know him? Do you know him? Do you know him? And Elder Hartley going like, no, I don't know him. But you do know him. He was at the party. He was trying to talk to you. And there you are ignoring it. That doesn't necessarily mean that Elder Hartley is of the rainbow variety, but maybe he has some things that he decided to tamp down. And you know what happens when you repress. It's not really good. But yeah. That's what I understand so far. I could be wrong. I'm looking forward to seeing what, more is going to be happening. So what are your thoughts? Write it down in the comments, and thank you all for watching/listening. If you would like to play Campo Largo yourself and figure out what's going on, or to stay up to date with what's going on with it, you can do so by going down to the link in the description to download and play the game from itch.io. If you would like to support the project, they do have a Patreon and a Ko-fi. So like if you like the story, you like how it's presenting these things, how it's dealing with these matters, you know, join their Patreon or, give them a little Ko-fi or whatever, donation. If you would like to support the channel and help support me, you can become a channel member, which gives you earlier access to these videos as they're being scheduled. So it's like, hey, here's some money on a monthly basis. And I go, hey, I have some videos that are scheduled. Here, you get to watch them early. I do plan to do more cooking videos, but like, it's hard to think of something that is like, oh, I want to show them how to do this. I am terrible at baking. I do want to learn how to make, like, even like the, what's it called? I showed Libra, the writer, Where the Demon Lurks, how to make, or like cochitos, which are like this Mexican pastry that's in the shape of like a little pig. And I think I showed it to him during one of the Morris updates. And it was like, hey, look, a cochito for like the Morris update. And I was like, maybe I could learn how to do that and make it like a tie-in for Where the Demon Lurks for a Morris update. But yeah. Anyways, maybe I did try to do it once and the dough became so sticky and it was ruined. It's not supposed to be that sticky. But anyways, maybe I'll learn how to do that and then like record it or something. I don't know. Yeah. What else? But yeah, you'll see stuff like that there. I do need to do more stuff for channel members. Give me ideas, people. What else? Maybe I'll learn how to make horchata. But Jaker was asking me how to make horchata, and that's like one of the easiest things that I could think of to make. Maybe like make horchata, make jamaica, make agua de limon. I don't know. Those are like one of the easiest things you can make, but it's like at least where I live, an inherently Mexican thing, or Hispanic, I guess. So maybe I could say like, hey, you want to make these your drinks, your favorite drinks from that Mexican restaurant that's not really Mexican, but it's kind of like white, so it's like sort of Tex-Mex. And it's not even like the real drink. It's coming from like a dispenser, from a pouch, from powder. But yeah, anyways, yeah, I'll maybe do one of those. Also, I have a Ko-fi in case you're feeling that you cannot donate through YouTube. So there's that. There's a dog barking in the background right now. Stupid dogs. Also, I have a throne in case you're feeling overly generous. Somebody bought me a card for my local movie theater, so I'm going to use that to watch Iron Lung when it comes out, the Markiplier movie. I'm really, really, really excited to go watch it. So yeah, I'm going to take my mom because she actually likes Markiplier. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I guess that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.